So I was going through some photos the other day and I came across me on my very first motorcycle. It was a 1971 Honda CT70, and it got me thinking, when was the first time I fell in love with motorcycles? And it wasn't that bike. It was actually before I even had that bike. When I was 7, 8 years old, my parents used to ship me off in the summertime to some relative's farm in South Dakota, I suppose to get a break from me. And they sent along with me this book, this paperback book. It was a blue cover, and I Googled it the other day, and it turns out it was called The Cycle Jumpers. And at night, when I would basically cry myself to sleep because I was I missed home and all that. I'm a city kid. I would sit with a flashlight and just stare at the pages of that book and the motorcycles in it. I was fascinated with just the shape of them, the gas tank, the way the fenders were. And I couldn't believe these machines had a motor and you could do all that kind of stuff on them, jump and just... So needless to say, when I got back from whatever, camp, whatever you want to call it, I bugged my parents to get me a bike. And they didn't. It was a little bit before I got one. My cousin Matt actually got one first. His dad surprised him with, again, a CT70. And his was really nice. It was only a couple years old, shiny. Well, then I really must have put the pressure on them because they eventually got me one. It was a 1971 CT70, and it was pretty ragged. The lights were missing, wires hanging off the front and the back. There was no key. You had to permanently hot wire it. The throttle, the grip on the throttle side was missing, and I remember you could literally, while you're riding it, pull the throttle tube off. There was a little notch to keep it on. And the seat was ripped, decals coming off. But again, I didn't care. It had 2 wheels, a motor, and it was all mine. And I rode the crap out of that bike. And my parents eventually got divorced when I was 8, shortly after. So it was kept at my dad's. So I only got to ride it when I was at my dad's, and I'd ride it up and down the street. And I lived with my mom, so I eventually got them to let me take it over to my mom's house. And I would literally every day up and down the driveway, laps. I used to have this little red gas can, and I'd keep it in the driveway. And I would just do laps like NASCAR. I'm driving by that house my dad lived in, where I got that picture taken. I haven't been down here, and I couldn't even tell you. Here we go, right here. Oxborough Avenue. 8709 Oxborough Avenue. I was going to say it's for sale, but no, that's not it. It's this one right here with the garage doors open. That birch tree is gone, but this is it. 8709. We are coming up upon Blaisdell Avenue South. This is where my mom lived. And this is where I got my dad convinced to let me keep the bike over here. Right here on the left. Right here, this driveway. 9035 Blaisdell. See, that's quite a long driveway. I would drive my bike up and down that driveway, and it's pretty narrow, so I got good at turning. Have my little gas can sitting on the end there. So I got to thinking, my driveway now is pretty much the same driveway I had growing up as a kid. So I'm wondering if that had something to do with buying this house. I don't know. But we're going to find out. Well, eventually, you know, I wore that bike out. Can't really recall the details, but I asked my dad the other day, whatever happened to the bike? He says, oh, I gave it to someone, it didn't work anymore. So I literally rode that thing into the ground. So that was my very first motorcycle. But then after that, my dad shocked, I'm still shocked to this day. I can't remember the exact how everything went down, but I remember the feeling of just utter shock when my dad surprised me with a pretty darn new Yamaha YZ125 dirt bike. I mean, the suspension on that thing, I was like taller than me, it seemed like. And the power band that thing had was about this big. When it hit, it hit. And I remember hitting the deck quite a few times. But I tell you what, I learned to operate a clutch that way. And out by my house, the highway, which is in many of my videos, leaving or coming, before that was even a highway, that's where I rode it. It was just all dirt and field. Yeah, so that's a cool memory to look back on the highway you're on literally every day. And you remember riding your dirt bike out there before there was even roads. And I had that quite a few years. And then as I got into my teens, you know, things changed in my life a bit. I got into music. I was a drummer, and then I was a guitar player, and then girls caught my eye, and then it was, you know, I got into hard rock, got in a band for quite a few years, and I kind of, you know, left motorcycling, let it be for a while, until I got into my late teens, when my actual first street motorcycle was a 1984 Honda 700 Shadow 700. It was all chrome, literally no paint on it. It was a chrome edition. The thing was beautiful. I got it when I was 18 years old. And this road I'm on right now, I used to take to work. And this is where I seen that bike. It was sitting with a for sale sign in it. And I had to look at it every day on the way to work. And I just fell in love with it. It wasn't the painted edition. It had a chrome tank. It was all chrome. I'd never seen anything like it. I used to joke that even back in the day, the Harley guys would even nod at me. That's how cool it looked. So it's just right up here on the left. Right here. This repair, right? It was an old gas station at the time. And it was sitting right there. The guy who worked here had it, and what he did is he sold it and he bought a new Harley Davidson. So the deal was, he bought it from a dealership down in Delano, Minnesota. Probably, I don't know, hour and a half away from the cities. And the deal was, I was going to ride on the back of the bike on the way for him to pick up his new bike. And we got there in the parking lot, I gave him the money, he gave me the key. And that's exactly what we did. And I didn't have a permit, I didn't have a license, I just bought the bike. And little did I know that he put car tabs on it, because I got in a little trouble on the bike, and I found out that the bike had car tabs on it. So I was being charged with tax evasion, amongst other things. You know, back then my choices weren't that good. I never got a motorcycle license, I didn't have a permit, I didn't have insurance on it. I just bought the bike and started riding it. Now I'm an hour and a half, 2 hours away from the cities. And again, I grew up riding mini bikes and dirt bikes, so I know how to ride a motorcycle. But I'd never been on a street bike, let alone a 700. And yeah, so I drove it home. First time ever riding a motorcycle, street motorcycle. And it was rush hour traffic. I still remember it. Again, you put in a situation like that YZ125 with that power band like this, you figure out how to work that clutch and how to control that power real fast. Otherwise, you're going to be in the ditch. And I have one picture of that bike, I know, with me holding my niece on it, but I cannot find it. I'm bummed out. So yeah, I had that Shadow for quite a few years, and you know, the progression was to get a Harley Davidson. You know, I'm I'm a young male in the USA, and Harleys rule, and I got one. I got a 1990 Harley Davidson Softail Custom Jet Black, and boy, did I think I was cool on that bike. I bought it in the winter time up north, Spring Lake Park, from this small shop, and I remember riding it home at night with this, just a stocking cap. I didn't wear helmets back then. You know, I was young and dumb. But I had a stocking cap on that night. And yeah, I got pretty cold. Okay, let's go here. So I had that bike a few years, and then I eventually sold it to get money for a down payment on my first house. That brings back a lot of memories. These people probably think I'm staking out the place. But that's it. Yeah, those are my first 4 motorcycles. And a little trip down memory lane. So, curious, how did you guys get into motorcycling? Or, what was your first bike? What did you like about it? Was it the one you wanted? Has there been one you've always wanted that you never have gotten? Or have you gotten your dream bike? Because right now I got 2 of my dream bikes right now. I can't tell you how pleased I am with these Triumphs. They're just fun to ride, and I ride them. You can tell if you don't have the right bike, if you have a motorcycle, and you don't ride it that much. If you're not putting the miles on, chances are you got the wrong bike. You know, maybe it's just not comfortable. Maybe it's, you know, it's not calling you as much fun as you want it to be. Whatever, I don't know. But my theory is, if you got the right bike for you, you're riding it. Putting the miles on, having fun, nice day out. Look at, if I was at home and I didn't have a bike, and I'm sitting on the couch or watching TV or doing whatever, and someone said, hey, you want to hop in your car and, you know, go past your old childhood houses? No thanks. No interest. Why would I want to do that? But on a bike, heck yeah. Let's go for a ride. You're out in the nature. You're just, I don't have to tell you guys. You guys get it. I'm just kind of blabbing on here. But, so yeah, that's a kind of a hodgepodge video threw together. Again, thanks for watching, and ride safe. See you on the next one.